questions number 6. So you didn't bring your paper, no need to bring it. You know what is the subject. So last Friday I discussed on this, how far can Buddhism agree with modern scientific discoveries? And tonight what are the main reasons for intellectuals like scholars, scientists, psychologists, historians and philosophers to appreciate Buddhism related to the same subject, Buddhism and science and appreciations? What are the main reasons? Actually, there is only one reason why intellectuals appreciate Buddhism. When you refer to the Buddha, what he has said, then easily you can understand. His saying is this: Paññāvantassāyang dhammo nāyang dhammo duppanyassa. This Dhamma that I revealed can be understood only by intellectuals. Nāyang dhammo duppanyasa, but not those who have low mentality. Now that is the only reason why intellectuals, whether they are Buddhist or otherwise, appreciate the teachings of the Buddha. The Buddha has revealed the truth. So when people analyze unbiasedly, without depending on their former belief or a religious concept, people can understand. But not so easy to understand. Our understanding capacity and our knowledge and our way of thinking and our background, these things sometimes hinder or obstruct for us to accept the truth. Traditions, customs, belief, concept that we had earlier never allow for us to understand the truth. We try to justify that our belief and our understanding and our way of thinking are correct. And that is the mistake. The Buddha has given us this advice. If you want to understand the truth, you must be unbiased. Now, if you accept the teachings of the Buddha, thinking that you are Buddhist, therefore you are bound to accept. There is no understanding. Just because you are Buddhist, you accept. The Buddha did not encourage this. That is what he said. Don't depend on your teacher or the founder of your religion to understand the truth. If you depend on them, straight away you accept, but no understanding, no realization in your mind. A simple example, as Buddhist you believe there will be another life hereafter, after our death. But you never take the trouble to understand how this rebirth takes place. But you accept. And you believe that our good and bad karma create good and bad effect within this life or hereafter. But you do not know how karmic forces function and what are the causes. Then we talk about cause and effect. We do not know. Simply we say, this is cause and effect. And how this cause conditions or create the effect. What are the factors? So Buddhism is a subject for us to study. Pariyatti, Patipatti, Pativeda, 3 ways for us to realize. The first step is to study. Our knowledge is important, but that knowledge itself doesn't give us a realization, correct understanding. Now, after reading books and listening to various talks, you may get some sort of knowledge. But that knowledge is very shaky, changeable, because no realization. We can say, I have read all those Buddhist books, I know what they are. But there are no changes in your life to adapt your way of life according to that knowledge. Then the second step is patipatti. After learning, you must practice. Then you can understand. Good and bad both. The Buddha says, if you do good, you can experience good result. If you do bad things, you experience bad result. So, you can experience this when you practice. Then the last item is Pativeda, the realizations. Experience the result. Example, when you reduce your anger, your jealousy, your grudge, your greed, and certain bad habits. You go on reducing. Later, you can experience very good result. How people acknowledge, respect, and trust you. After that, people don't like to disturb you. They regard you as cultured people, nice people, harmless people, honest people. Then they also don't like to disturb you. And that is the way how you experience the good effect. On the other hand, you go on disturbing, bluffing and swindling and harming others. If not immediately, later, definitely you had to experience bad effect. Not only that, your own mind. So when you reduce evil forces from your mind, you experience a wonderful happiness, a very big relief, peace in your mind. Then reduce fear, suspicion. Then you do not create jealousy and enmity. You don't create enemies. Then you go on developing until you attained the final goal. These are the three methods. First, we have to learn. Without learning, we cannot practice, because the method can be a wrong method. Then practice. After that, we experience the result. So, I think you have heard earlier also what the Buddha has said after gaining his enlightenment. When he surveyed, examined the mentality of ordinary people, he knew the difficulty of understanding such sublime, very deep dharma, the doctrine or the truth. Because their minds are completely clouded, deluded, misled. They cannot grasp. They cannot understand. So during the Buddha's time, actually, there were very few Buddhists in India because people could not understand. And they could not give up the former belief they had. This we can understand when you refer to the former Prime Minister of India, Mr. Nehru, what he has mentioned in his book, Discovery of India. He says, actually I cannot understand what sort of courage, knowledge and understanding that the Buddha had to point out all the existing wrong belief and practices in India. That is why there were many enemies who could not agree with the Buddha's teaching. But the truth is truth. Now today, we are practicing all sorts of things. in the name of Buddhism. We introduce them as Buddhist practices. But when you refer to the Buddha, actually, we are going against the basic teachings of the Buddha. We are doing many things which the Buddha has advised us not to do. But these things are traditional practices. We cannot get rid of them. Then, very few people, those who had some sort of intrinsic intelligence, thinking power to understand things, accepted. And they wanted to follow and practice the teachings of the Buddha. Now, for the last 2,500 years, when you study the situations of Buddhism in many parts of the world, we can say, actually we are not practicing even 10% of the Buddha's teaching. 90% of our belief practices are not Buddhistic practices, what the Buddha has introduced. We have incorporated from time to time in different countries, according to their traditions, customs, way of thinking, knowledge and understanding. But this is natural. It's happening to every religion. When you study Christianity, what Jesus has taught, and what those Christians are doing today, they are going against his teaching. One single example. When they preach, they say, formerly I was doing some business and it has become a failure. I was a Buddhist or Hindu. After becoming a Christian, now I am prospering. I am very rich now. I see the power of Christianity. Now let us refer to the Bible and Jesus, what he has said. A rich man cannot go to heaven. The parable given, just like a camel going through the eye of a needle. If a rich man can go to heaven. This is the way how they try to introduce religion. And we are also doing the same thing. Then, the main purpose of religion, any religion, is to contribute something which others cannot do. Please remember this. Science or technology or academic knowledge or wealth or worldly powers or political powers or any kind of supernatural power. What religion can contribute has gone far beyond their contribution. Then what is that? To train the man's mind Do you think there is any other method in this world that can do to adapt, to train the mind? Do you think atomic energy also can train the man's mind? Medical science can change the man's mind. Supernatural power, do you think, can change the man's mind? Religion is the only method, but religion is misused, abused, and gone out of the way. Today, people are not using religion to train the man's mind, but to create more temptation, craving, anxieties in the man's mind. So there are few who can appreciate and understand the teachings of the Buddha. Just now I mentioned Mr. Nehru's name. He has contributed so much as the Prime Minister to promote Buddhism. Whenever he writes, he always discusses about Buddhism, Buddhist culture and Buddhist history. He says, the whole world respects this country, India, because of Buddhism, not because of Hinduism or any other thing. The Buddha has given due credit to our country. Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, when you read his book, My Religion, he says, as Hindus, we are indebted to Buddhism. That means we have borrowed most important philosophical, doctrinal, ethical and moral teachings from Buddhism to enrich our Hindu culture and Hinduism. Who says this? A Hindu. Another philosopher, wisdom of India at the 20th century, Dr. Radhakrishnan. When I was studying in India, Benares Hindu University, he was the Vice Chancellor. After that, he became the President of India. He has written 3 volumes on Hindu philosophy. He says, wisdom of India arose in the Buddha's mind. Real wisdom we can see in the Buddha's teaching. He is a Hindu, very orthodox Hindu. Another Indian philosopher, also principals of a university in India, Professor Das Gupta, he also has written 3 volumes of Indian philosophy. He says, very frankly, he has made a very bold statement. He says, Hinduism is nowhere if Buddhism never appeared in India. This you can understand when you study pre-Buddhistic Hindu teaching and after the Buddhas, because they have started writing their books so many 100 years after the Buddha. Earlier they never had books. So many of those superstitious beliefs that they had earlier have eradicated, enriched Hinduism by borrowing excellent ideas from Buddhism. So Hinduism has become a very rich philosophy and religion because of Buddhism. Who says? An Indian philosopher, also a Hindu. That is the beauty, because they can see the truth. They never try to hide the facts. Then let us refer to some others. Scientist. I always mention the names of Albert Einstein. He is the best scientist. There were 2-3 occasions where he has mentioned about Buddhism. He had no religion. Scientists have no religion, but they cannot depend on science. The religion. If they depend on religious concept, they cannot use their free mind to understand the truth. Because in religion, there are so many dogmas, traditional and superstitious belief. So they have given up all those religions and used their free mind to understand the thing. But all those things that they have discovered are worldly things. Yes, so only elements and energies, the functions of elements and energies, that's all. Whatever they discover depend on either elements or energies. But to us, they are new subject because we never had such knowledge earlier about the earth, the ocean, space, stars and galaxies, and the wind and rain. We had our own imaginations earlier. Scientists have discovered many things, how they function and what are the causes. But religions contributed to maintain superstitious ideas and imagination that they had earlier. That is why the Buddha did not want to talk about all these things, because he knew. So Albert Einstein says, according to our scientific education, in time to come, if if religion is needed, I believe only Buddhism can remain. Because that scientific knowledge never acknowledge religions. But Buddhism is strong enough to face this challenge, to topple that scientific knowledge and penetrate beyond their scientific knowledge. That is why he says, according to our scientific knowledge, if religion is needed, that religion must be Buddhism. In his autobiography, he has written this. Another philosopher in Russia many years ago, before communism came into existence, this person has written 3 volumes on Buddhist logic. I read. Actually, I also cannot understand many things there. Logic. His knowledge is so deep. Many things I also cannot understand. So what sort of thinking power, sharp thinking power they had? He also made a beautiful statement. He says, if all are educated here in this world, educated means not academic knowledge, understanding. If all are educated, I believe only one religion can remain in this world. That is Buddhism. A Russian philosopher. His name is Chirvatsky. Then another Western philosopher, German. His name is Dr. Schopenhauer. He has given few parables, written one book named Buddhism and Science. He says, all the other existing religions in this world are just like small children. Buddhism is just like an adult. Why? Children always depend on others. They cannot understand things properly. They cannot produce things. Always depend on elders for their living. In the same manner, all the other religionists depend on God, depend on supernatural power, because they cannot understand things properly. Buddhism is just like an adult. An adult can understand many things, but not everything. They know how to look after themselves, prepare their own food and everything. So, to a certain extent, they are independent. So, Buddhism teaches us how to be independent without depending on others. This is the way how they analyze Buddhism. Then Julius Huxley, another Western philosopher. The way how he appreciates the Buddha's liberal way of teaching. He says, I cannot find in any other religion this kind of freedom that which given to human intelligence, human mind, to think freely without depending on anything. This freedom is remarkable. The founder of Pali Text Society in England, Dr. Rhys David, he was a son of a Christian priest. More than 100 years ago, when he was in Sri Lanka during the colonial period, he decided to study Pali language. At that time, there was only one Buddhist monk who has studied English. Only one Buddhist monk. So he studied Pali language under this monk. He mastered the language, and his wife also joined. Both of them have studied, and they found out this is very interesting. After returning to England, they have decided to establish the Pali Text Society to translate Pali Tripitaka into English, first time. In his articles, he says, I have found out 3 things in Buddhism which I could not find out in any other religions. What are those 3? 4 noble truths, 8 noble paths, and the cause and effects. I cannot find in many other religions. I have studied all the other religions. You know the meaning of these 3 items. 4 noble truths, 8 noble paths, the cause and effect. That is why I like this religion. That is why I want to translate this Pali Tripitaka into English. Today, I think almost every book, Sutra, Vinaya and Abhidhamma, are available in the English language. Of course, that language is not very easy for us to understand. At that time, they have used Victorian English. So we must simplify the language to understand. When you read those translations, you feel very boring, very difficult to understand because of the language problem. Then he has revealed a secret. He said, the main purpose of my studying the Pali language is to find out the weaknesses in Buddhism, because I am a son of a Christian priest. I want to justify Christianity and point out the weaknesses of Buddhism. So I went on studying. In the end, so what happened to me? Without my knowledge, I have become a Buddhist. I never had an idea to become a Buddhist. Convincing, enlightening, opened my mind. Now I can understand the truth. When he was very old, he has written an article. In that article he says, I am getting old. I experience the difficulty of reading and writing. If there is some sort of power in this world who can extend my lifespan, at least for another 10 to 15 years, every minute I spent for this Buddhist work. This is the way how they appreciate. That is what the Buddha says earlier. Paññāvantassāyang dhammo. This Dhamma that I am revealing to you can be understood only by those who can think. But unfortunately, others cannot understand, like small children. Then there were many other scientists and philosophers who made beautiful statements. When you read that book I have written many years ago, Great Personalities on Buddhism, you can see so many quotations there. Historians, I think you have heard this earlier, H.G. Wells. He has given two reasons why he likes Buddhism. Regarding the origin of this world, he says, earlier we have learned, according to our traditional religious belief, that this world was created by a God a few thousand years ago. But when you study geology and scientific subject, we can understand that it has taken millions and millions of years to settle down the formations, to create environments. Buddhism never talked anything about this. Another thing he mentioned. We always talk about a religious man who had performed a lot of miracles. And there was another religious teacher who lived 600 years earlier. He was referring to the Buddha. Never talk anything about miraculous power. But he has revealed the truth. So when we study according to our educations and scientific knowledge, we feel that the religious teacher who lived 600 years earlier to the other teacher who talked a lot about miraculous power, we feel the other one is nearer to us. Now this is the way how they acknowledge the Buddha's teaching. Then Bertrand Russell's. I do not know whether you have read his book, Why I Am Not a Christian, the title of the book. Still, I think, available in the market. He goes on criticizing, accusing, blaming all the existing religions because he is an agnostic. To him, religion is a nuisance, burdens, mislead the public. This is the way how he interprets, having seen what people are doing in the name of religion. He is not wrong. Even then, he says, amongst the founders of this world, this life, and space, and stars, and galaxies, and everything created by someone at once. The Buddha never uttered such words, because he knew what this world is. Others could not understand what this world is. In that respect, I honor the Buddha. So even agnostics also can acknowledge the Buddha's knowledge. There are so many other rationalists. Rationalist means free thinkers who use their intellect. They are not skeptic. Some people are very intelligent but are skeptics, very stubborn and one-track minded. A skeptic always rejects without using their sense of reasoning. But rationalists appreciate good thing and reject bad thing. Bad thing means things that they cannot appreciate and accept. And this is the nature of rationalists. But they give due credit to the truth and facts, and they always support the Buddha's liberal way of preaching and his Dhamma. Then come to psychologists. Psychologists try to analyze and understand the human mind. Earlier, you cannot find the real analysis or the interpretations of the human mind. In Hinduism also we can find, to a certain extent, this analysis. But the Buddha's interpretations of human mind is entirely different. And today, psychologists agree. After study, even then, there are well-known three psychologists: Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung and James Williams. Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung. According to their way of understanding and analysis, pointed out, there are three forces in our mind, natural forces. Libido, self-preservation, and instincts of committing suicide. Natural. That means they have realized something. Now when we refer these three, what is libido? Libido directly refer to the sex life, sexual instinct, sexual urge is natural. Self-preservation, that means will to live, also natural. We want to live, we don't like to die. Will to live. Last one is instincts of committing suicide. That is also natural. Under certain circumstances, we decide. Sometimes almost every day some people think, why not I die and finish everything? Yes, natural. These three were discovered by the psychologist. Now let us refer to the Buddha, what he has said earlier. For our existence, there are three mental forces. For our existence means we exist here in this world because of this. Otherwise we never exist. But he used very meaningful word. Three. Kamatanha, bhavatanha, vibhavatanha. Now let us analyze. Let us start from bhavatanha. Craving for existence. We want to live. We are willing to kill even thousands and millions of others for our survival. Craving for existence. We can do any dirty, cruel, wicked things for our survival. Craving for existence. We can justify any bad thing after committing them. What to do? We have to do all those things for our living. Craving for existence. See how deep the Buddha's analysis. Not only that, we have to go further. Craving for existence hereafter. After our death also we want to exist. It is craving. We want to be born in a rich families to enjoy our life after our death. Craving for existence. We like to go to heaven. Some people say eternal, some others say not eternal, but for a long period. Enjoy. exist there. Craving for existence. It is craving. Can you say it is not craving? See, when we analyze the Buddha word, we can give so many meanings. But those scientists, psychologists have given only this much for our survival here, that's all. Then the last one is, no, not the last one, second one, Kama Tanha, our craving for pleasure. This world that we live is called Kama Loka, sensual world. Humans, animals, and devas experience this. Sensual pleasure. What is this? Through their five senses or six senses. They want to gain some sort of pleasure, indulge. Eye organ and ears and the mouth and the nose and the body and the mind. 6. So we want to entertain all these 6 senses. Because of this craving for pleasure, we violate all the principles and the precepts and ethics and morals to satisfy, to entertain, to gain some sort of pleasure. Then bluffing, swindling, cheating, robbing, raping, murdering, and war also exist in this world today because of this sensual pleasure. When we go on reducing these pleasures, then all these evil, wicked, immoral, cruel, dangerous things also going on reducing. Because of this craving, husband and wife fight, sometimes kill. And the whole country, the whole world, the whole universe where they want to experience this pleasure, we can introduce as a battlefield. Craving for pleasure. Then the last one is Vibhavatanda. Vibhavatanda means craving for non-existence. It is also a craving. There are 2 ways. When you could not gain what you wanted, when you could not satisfy your burning craving, you cannot tolerate anymore. That unsatisfied craving in your mind create the idea to commit suicide. Craving for non-existence. In fact, this craving is stronger than the other 2. Here there is no tolerance. Frustration, disappointment, then anger or jealousy also. Because you could not gain or you lost your valuable thing, you cannot tolerate. Or you lost your wife or your husband or your children, cannot tolerate, commit suicide, craving for non-existence. Then the other one is more deeper. There are some people who maintain some sort of belief that how nice if we can stop our existence again, not to have another rebirth. So they strongly believe now there won't be another life for them. Are they the first and the last? Nihilistic. It's called nihilism or annihilation. This is also craving for non-existence. Why? Although you believe, you like it, you are in the dark. This is only your imagination. Simply by maintaining such belief, you cannot stop this. Because existence again does not depend on your belief. Remember this. You can believe anything in this world. You may believe that you can go to heaven and remain forever. This is your belief. Then, now why do we introduce this as craving for non-existence? No, as a craving. Although we believe this, due to certain problems, difficulties, frustration, disappointment, unhappiness, we prefer or we like not to have another life to experience the same problem. Say, severe pain, intolerable, due to certain sicknesses. You suffer. Then you believe, oh, how nice. If I can stop this life here, not to suffer again like this. But it doesn't work in that way. If you don't like to suffer again, you have to work for that. Then you have to start from the beginning. Reduce craving for existence, reduce craving for pleasure, then create some sort of renunciation in your mind and reduce your attachment to so many things. So you go on reducing. The one day you will be landed there where you never experience any more physical sufferings or mental burden. But without preparing this, simply you believe that there won't be any more life for me and no more suffering. This is the last. It is also a craving. Now you can see, compare with the modern psychological interpretation, libido, self-preservation and suicide instinct. The Buddha has given very wide, meaningful interpretation as kama tanha, craving for pleasure, bhava tanha, craving for existence again and again and again, and vibhava tanha, not to exist again without preparing for that. So these psychologists had no knowledge about the mental faculties. To them, the same mind sometimes worked as normal mind, subconscious mind, unconscious mind, or semi-conscious. The same mind. This is the psychological interpretation. 4 stages there. The Buddha's analysis is not like that. He says the same mental energy divide into 4 mental faculties according to the ingredients of that mind. And then analyze what are the ingredients. Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, 4 faculties. Our feeling, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. 3 kinds of feeling. Because of this feeling, we create temptation and we create hatred. When the feeling is very painful, we hate. Then pollutes our own mind. When the feeling is pleasant, we develop craving and attachment toward this. When we miss it, lose, we worry. Again pollute the mind. That is how feeling can pollute our mind. So the meditation is for us to maintain our mind, or how to balance our mind without allowing that unpleasant feeling and pleasant feeling to disturb the mind. We become slaves to pleasant feeling. We go crazy. Then we want to experience again and again. When we cannot get, we get angry. Then pollute the mind. Then Sanya, another mental faculty we use to understand, to recognize, to identify. This is so and so, this is good, this is bad, this is black, this is white, and all these things we absorb into our mind through one particular mental faculty. Sometimes our identity, our recognition goes wrong, not correct. They are the illusions. Illusions in your mind mislead. And the objects that we take, when we analyze, it is wrong. Now this is the duty of this second mental faculty. And the third one is sankhara, our mental tendencies, if not mental habits, if not mental concomitants. There are so many words. Most of our habits, our character, natural character, our likes and dislikes, without any reason. Simply we say, I don't like that color. I hate that color. There are many. They have their own color. Either blue or red or white or yellow or this or that. They like one particular color. They don't like others. I hate this color. This is their natural mental habit. Food. I hate this food. I don't like. I cannot digest. But I like this. That is their own choice. Dress. They have their own dress. And the design, house or articles, oh, I like this design, appealing to my mind. So when you analyze everything, you have your own choice. It is not that purposely you have created this in your mind, natural, mental habit. Due to previous experience, how we used our mind according to this track, are still working. That is why we prefer. We say, I like this. There are some men who say, I hate ladies. I don't like ladies. What is this? What is the cause of it? There's something during their previous birth, some sort of hatred, enmity, grudge, and evil forces completely polluted the mind and still maintained that. There are many. Then, characters, temperaments, moods, attitude, they are all. Then, to do good things and bad things. Some people are reluctant to do bad things. They say, we don't like. Not because of religion or punishments or this or that, but we don't like. Take another example. There are many people who don't like to eat meat, and nothing to do with religion. Some of them have no religion at all. They say, we cannot eat. When we see, you like to vomit. We cannot eat. That is their habit. But some others say, oh, without meat we cannot eat. There must be meat. So, we can give thousands of reasons. Criminal-minded, religious-minded, in the same family, from the same parent. They have their own individual character. These are called mental tendencies, habits. The religion is important here. If they are bad, religion gives some sort of method to change that mental attitude. There is no God who can change that mental attitude. But religion gives some sort of method to analyze and to understand that it is wrong. Take one example. Some people are very hot-tempered, very easily lose their temper, shout at others, create enmity, very bad atmosphere. Then they say, what to do? I am like this. Then others also scared. Then people say, don't associate with that fellow, he's a moody chap, he can create trouble at any time, very hard to associate with him. They try to shun him. Then religion try to make him to understand that it is a weakness. And this weakness can create so much troubles. Get into trouble. Create trouble. Why not you try to strengthen your mind to calm this? Yes, suddenly your anger may flare up, but you must have courage to bring down immediately. Then go on training. One day that person can maintain a sweet temper. Only religion can do that. By praying you cannot do. Of course you can pray and try to strengthen your mind at that time, determined to reduce your temper, reduce your anger and jealousy and various other sources like this. Otherwise, your natural habit, forever you maintain, that you get into trouble. Then the last one is the vijnana, the consciousness, the mixture of all these mental faculties and the internal and external objects we take into our mind through our five senses, all together. Where it's called storehouse of consciousness, very rich. So when we die, that rich consciousness transmit from here. When another life, new life, started, nucleus of that new life, you can see all the ingredients again in that consciousness. And the same habit you can see, intelligence or stupidity, kindness or cruelty. All these ingredients you can find again there. So without a proper religious guidance, you cannot change your attitude. So psychologists are in the dark. They do not know anything about this thing. This is the difference now. Therefore recently they have made certain statements in 2-3 occasions. They say, when we compare our knowledge about human mind or our psychology, or compare with the Buddha's psychology, we are still in infancy stage, they admit. Now there is another new group among those psychologists called parapsychologists. They are more advanced, and they are the ones who try to prove the existence again, rebirth. They have discovered so many evidence to prove that it is true, not only a belief. So when you compare their statements and how they acknowledge, how they appreciate the Buddha's teaching, what the Buddha has said earlier, Paññāvantassāyang Dhammo, only such intelligent people can appreciate and understand this Dhamma. But take time for others to develop this. So in your case, don't create disappointment or frustration or what to do. We are not that intelligent and we cannot understand everything. You can develop. You can cultivate this knowledge. But only thing, you had to reduce so many beliefs that you had earlier. Otherwise you will never learn anything. Don't try to justify that you have learned when you were young. According to your traditions, your culture, and this and these things are right. Don't try to justify. 9:30. Next Friday. Don't know whether I'll be here. Yeah. 25th falls on what date? Because 25th I had to go to Singapore. I think Saturday, isn't it? Saturday or Friday? 25th. Monday, then no problem.
with beings, then your saddha, your confidence will be aroused. You will develop your confidence. You will be able eventually to overcome this one. But it is in the process of developing your mind that you are able to break this. When you develop your mind and you realize that the teachings, what we tell you, samatha, vipassana, and when you practice anapanasati, this is how you will attain this state, this state, this state. Now when you practice it and then you realize that it is possible, you make breakthroughs and you know, yes, it leads to this, your confidence. You break, in other words, you break your doubts, and your doubts will be shattered and you will be able to see. And you know, this is the path for me. That is what you call doubt, overcoming the doubt. Now, the third one is silabbata paramasa. Silabbata paramasa. Here, silabbata paramasa refers to the clinging to rites and rituals. Clinging to rites and rituals. Clinging to rites and rituals. Now, during the time of the Buddha, not only then, now also, we have many people who follows various kinds of religions and who cling to rituals, certain rites, and they have the strong belief, they hold the strong belief in their mind that unless they go through this ritual practice, unless they go through these rites and rituals, then they will not be able to gain their salvation. And then there are different kinds of rituals, different kinds of rites. I have seen when I was in India and I was traveling around in the train, I have seen one day, one woman was walking. She was wearing sari, and then she was crawling, like actually just like duck walking. Duck walking? Like you do in the PE, physical exercise in school, duck walking, And then I could not understand. I look at her, she looks very healthy. And then after some time, my mind, I just a bit curious. I says, why walk like this? Is there something wrong with the leg or something? And then later I realized that she's doing a penance. Penance? Penance. In other words, she is, because of something wrong that she has done. Now she is, in order to overcome that wrong action, she is paying for that. And according to her belief, she has to walk like that. Then she can overcome. I think maybe, she might have killed a duck or something, so she has to walk like a duck, And maybe not. Anyway, she was walking like that. And it is mentioned later on when I read the text, oh yes,